There are 64 wagons around this monument. It refers to one specific incident during the Great Trek period of 20 years, and that is the Battle of Blood River. In a symbolical sense, it means this monument is also protected. The mural inside we refer to as a frieze, a marble frieze. It is believed to be the largest in the world. It's 92 meters long by 2.1 meters high. It depicts 27 scenes from 20 years of history of the Great Trek, but it also offers you a storyline, a basic overview of the Great Trek. So that is more or less the basics, what it tells you. But I think it's also important that we need to note that that marble is the only material in this monument which is not from Africa. The Hall of Heroes, it's actually the kids and the females who are actually depicted as the heroes, because without them, this big migration never would have happened. If you go one level further down in the museum, it depicts more material culture. It's more about the lifestyle of the Voortrekkers. So obviously the wagon is very central there, and wagon making, and if anything breaks, what you do and how you do to fix it. For me, the most interesting scene is actually first settlement, where you kind of erect your first grass structure, where you will live in, the cooking outside, the building of a barn, and the start of agriculture. So that scene has a beautiful backdrop, and that is Soutpansberg. On the middle level, you have the cenotaph, or the empty grave, which is really the focus of the monument. It's about past people and all their sacrifices. And we really need to remember that sacrifices does not only mean your life. It's your time, it's your dedication. It's the education of your kids, it's your contribution to your country. So we look at the Great Trek and the Voortrekkers and their contribution. On your corners, you have on the left-hand side Piet Retief, the first inaugurated leader of the Voortrekkers, and after he passed away, on the right-hand side you have Andries Pretorius. Fort Schanskop is very appropriate in the whole Voortrekker tradition. Paul Kruger realized a year before the Anglo-Boer War started, with that raid he realized either you protect your capital city or you lose the war, because war actually had quite a very, quite a strange kind of insipid angle, because either if you capture the leader of the country or you take over the capital, then you actually win the war. So then he conceptualized the idea that 5 forts had to be built. Obviously what you will do with a fort like this, it's simply an early warning system. So your troops are up here. If the enemy are approaching from the south, where they actually expected them to come from, they can actually observe them. Remember, we referred to the rooibaaitjies, so it was quite easy to recognize the red jackets. And the first thing to do is get out your cannons and start with the conflict. Monuments should be monumental, because 500 years from now, when people look at it, they should ask questions.